There's a real buzz going on in the city, and I know that because after the session this morning, Keith and I have to run and get our bags and go to another hotel because we booked 4 months early and still have to go to 2 hotels. So maybe we should get into the hotel business or something here. So anyways, I applaud everything that's going on in this city. It's all great. It's all great news, and I'll be talking a little bit about CN. In fact, I had the opportunity to speak at the American Association of Port Authorities back in June, and Karen was in the audience, and she said, "Boy, could you come to Port Days and talk a little bit about what's happening at CN?" And I said, "I'd love to." So thank you for the invitation. Also, thank you for the collaboration with your team, with Paul and Rob and Sam and everybody that we work with. Further to that, Kim and Calvin and your team, and you know, we work together and we sell as one, and it's really been successful. In fact, the last 2 years, I think we've had the best growth of any other port in Canada. So I'm very happy for that. So I got my slides up here. Building capacity. I think if we would change that, we'd probably say urgently building capacity, or building capacity with urgency. Since March 5th, when JJ took over, JJ Rouet took over as our CEO, there's been a theme of urgency through the entire team, and Keith magnifies that even louder to all of us, and it's incumbent on all of us to make sure that we're getting it done, and we're getting it done in the right way so that we can serve our customer and grow our business. The business that grows here is discretionary cargo, so we have to all work together to make sure that it works. So I appreciate the fact that urgency is a very important term with us at CN now. Record capital envelope this year, capacity that we needed. One of the great things about growing older is that you get to change your look from time to time. So I have to put glasses on to make sure that I hit the key notes. But we're spending this money on some very important stuff. We're focusing on advancing safety. JJ says safety starts with him, and I appreciate that. In fact, it's something we do in every one of our meetings with our customers. We have safety moments. Network infrastructure. Now, it's primarily in the West, but it all feeds each other, and it's important that if it's like an artery in the human body, it all leads to the heart in Toronto. But if things are fluid in the West, things stay fluid in the East. Things stay fluid in the South. So it's important that this infrastructure that we're building in the West actually helps the entire body work. New locomotives, we'll talk a bit about that later. New people, primarily conductors, and technology, which we'll learn a little bit more here. It's actually a very exciting time in our industry to learn a lot more about the different types of technologies that are going to work in the future. I wanted to give some numbers here. In Nova Scotia, CN, capital investments of $50 million in the last 5 years. We have 450 employees. We operate 162 route miles. We have over $200,000 in community partnerships and local spending of $38 million in 2017. New Brunswick, because we're part of the East here, $30 million in New Brunswick in 2018 to strengthen the company's rail network across the province, improving safety and supporting efficient service. 331 railroaders, 596 route miles, $65 million in local spending, $26 million in capital investments, over $200,000 in community partnerships, and $12 billion worth of goods that go through these provinces to the U.S. So all great things, and much to grow on. We have 17% more crews that we've hired this year. We've added these people are important. We need it to grow. We fell a little behind, and these initiatives are urgently needed for us to, for lack of a better term, stay marginally ahead of demand so that we can continue to grow. We have 260 locomotives, and 28 have been delivered, 10 more are coming this month, 73 in Q1, and the rest through the year next year. So we are adding capacity, and this is in addition to 130 leased locomotives that we took last year. And they're a flexible lease to the point where if we need them, we can keep them. If we can turn them back, we'll turn them back. But we are building the locomotive power to make it happen. And even more in the fluidity in the west, we have 60 miles of new sidings that we built, 11 new sidings, 60 miles of double track, and extension spurs and yard investments in the west that are going to help us stay fluid. Once again, that helps us in the east. If everything keeps moving, everything works. So a major investment, an urgent investment here to support growth and keep our business moving. I'll talk a little bit about JJ's mandate when he started. And it's interesting, if you simplify it and you boil it down to 2 or 3 things, or 4 things in this matter, everything else takes care of itself. So it was very clear, and it was very quick and very concise. Urgently, 2 to 3 days dwell at all the ports. 45-minute car turn times for all the trucks that come in our inland terminals. 99% on-time loaded exports making the vessel. And the recent ad of Keith's here, and this is very recent, as of about a week ago, 7 days, boxes that need to get from inland terminals back to the port don't sit in the terminals longer than 7 days. And if you follow these, like I say, if you follow these metrics and you work hard on hitting these numbers, it's amazing. Everything else takes care of itself. I'll get a little bit into the results at the end, which have been which have come a long way since the winter of 2017. So when we look at those metrics, we're always kind of looking this as we're constantly trying to improve. We're always trying to do better. If 45 minutes is the standard this year for car turn times in our inland terminals, then next year it should be 44 minutes, 43 minutes, 42 minutes. Always try and do better, always try and overachieve. But I'm going to talk about inland terminals now. I'm going to talk about Brampton. If our network is the arteries and of our body, the Brampton terminal is the heart. And everything kind of flows through Brampton or through Toronto. And we've really put a lot of effort into making sure that we have the capacity there to keep growing. We have, a long-term vision of being in Milton, which is a very important facility, a very important project for us. But in the meantime, we got to make sure we serve our customers as best we can. So we've put $25 million into maximizing the operations just at Brampton alone. And that's really just taking what we have and doing better with it. Trying to be smarter in how we move within our yards, how we work, how trucks flow, how we have our pads and how we work our pad tracks. Secondly, we've actually increased the actual capacity by putting 16 million into Brampton. And we open up a small terminal, which is about 3 miles kind of southwest of Brampton, called Mallport. And by building Mallport, we've been able to move a portion of our business that fits with the flows and open up Brampton to have a lot more capacity to do more business there. And further to that, of course, with a level of urgency, we've added people in our terminals and cranes. In fact, I think we've just recently put another order in for 30 more cranes across the network. And that really, feeds into the world that we're heading into with how we look after our trucking community. And as a son of a truck driver, I totally empathize and understand with what these people have to do day in and day out. And we are really working hard, and it's going to take time, but we're really working hard. And Keith's got our focus on making sure that the drivers that come in our terminals are treated with respect, get serviced well, and are able to enter and exit the terminal in an efficient manner, in a safe manner, and at the same time, they're able to do as much work as possible to have a profitable living and earn a good living. So we are laser focused on how we are going to treat the trucking community going forward. About a couple of weeks ago, we were discussing about the East Gateway in Halifax and how we're going to grow and how we're going to grow this discretionary cargo. Well, a lot of it goes to America. As we were chatting about this, Keith got very passionate about the fact that we need to make Sarnia Port Huron look and feel like our Rainier border crossing in Western Canada. And Rainier, I won't get into too much detail, but really, it's an intermodal yard that's just for customs, that's just located over the border in Rainier, Wisconsin. And the train will come in there to that terminal, and we're able to pull a box off for inspection just by plucking the box with our lifters right off of the train. Sometimes they're inspected right on the spot. Sometimes they're held for a day. We can put a box that was there from the day before back on the train. And the whole process can take as little as 45 minutes, so we can maintain fluidity and keep the business moving. We think that with the opportunity to do more American cargo through the Halifax Gateway, that we need to make Sarnia Port Huron look and feel the same way. So we're going to be spending a lot of time and money on making that happen. So I expect updates will be coming, and your CN reps will be getting out to tell you more about how we're going to make this happen. But this is just a picture of the land there. We're going to build a live lift pad of 4,100 feet and be able to double back on tracks and put we could put a whole train in there if we had to. But really just be able to pull in and pull the box off and get it inspected quickly. So that's coming soon. Direct benefit to the Eastern Gateway. Just some stats for my best friend Andrew in domestic, Andrew Fuller. We're adding 14% more reefers. We're adding 10% more heated containers. This is all to our fleet. 12% more dry containers. 58% more nose mounts and 7% more gen sets. All of these gen sets are going to have our intelligent technology on them. We will be investing in all this equipment so we can grow our business, and I believe that a lot of this technology on the nose mount and the gen set side could be for more refrigerated cargo that we can move through the East Coast. So what are the results? Based on the mandate that JJ put to us, we just took a quick March to August run, and I can tell you these stats were not as good as this through the winter of 2017. But Halifax, 2.2 days, and I think, Karen, your number was 1.9, so we're pretty close there on how we're measuring. Prince Rupert, 3.5 days. Deltaport, 3.8. Especially through an invasive project that's happening there. Centerm, 3.8. Vanterm, 2.3 days, and Montreal, 3.4. So, and the last is the 98.4% on time to vessel cut. We're not there yet. We're going to keep pushing hard to get there. And all of the car turn times, except for Toronto for that time frame, we're in and around that 45-minute range or less, and we will continue to push that as well. So. I can get into details. If there's any questions anybody has, we can talk afterwards. I want to keep the session going forward. But I really, once again, I appreciate being able to come here and give an update. We're extremely proud of the things that we're doing. We're extremely proud of the team, and I'm very proud of my team and the things we're doing. And I hope that we can keep this ball rolling forward and keep growing. So thank you all very much.